closed session, and we will proceed through the agenda, starting with the approval of minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the February 25th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the February 25th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will proceed with public comment, and I have cards from our speakers. Thank you. I'm going to start with the guidelines. Good evening and welcome. Public comment is a time for the community to address the board with comments and questions. Each community member addressing the board has 5 minutes. Once you have been notified your time is up, kindly step away from the podium. Public comment will be for a total of 30 minutes with no more than each subject lasting 20 minutes. So please understand that this is not a time for engagement. The board will consider your comments in its decisions. For those comments or questions requiring a follow-up response, the board president or superintendent will follow up. So we have, I think, Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay.
Sweets.
Okay, couldn't tell if they were separated. All right.
So, thank you for the time. You know, we just had this vote this past November for what you are proposing, and by 1, it did not go through, and here we are again. And I got really curious what this is all about, so I started to do some of my own research. My curiosity quickly went from interest to, I hate to say it, but insult, okay? My taxes went up last year $800 already, okay? And I know our neighbors, Hinsdale, Naperville, with increases in taxes for their schools and everything, that may be a welcome thing for them, but the demographic there with their income is a huge difference than what's happening here, okay? Hinsdale, the average income is $250,000 a year, okay? Naperville is $150,000 a year. Here in Westmont, we hover about $85,000 a year. So what you are proposing has a huge impact on the income that's in this community. Now, let me just go back for a minute to inflation that we all experienced for the past 4 years, and we don't have to talk a lot about that, but we all know how that felt. In Illinois alone, the average family since 2021 has paid over $35,000 to offset inflation costs. That's a lot of money, especially to people with an income like in Westmont. So where do people get to catch up? Where do they get to catch up? This increase that you're asking for is massive. And it's not just the onset of the number, it increases every year. You're going to drive people away. You are going to create financial hardship for a lot of families that are already struggling. So why would you want to do that? Do people not care about the impact of what people have just experienced and now this? You know, J.B. Pritzker in 2023 passed a massive bill, $50.8, I don't know, billion for the state of Illinois. And if my research, yeah, 50.4 billion, okay? Give me a moment so I can just find this real quick. But there was a huge sum of money that went to the school districts. I think it was $350 million for K through 12. I don't know what that money looks like to any of these districts. What is it being used for? Another thing I want to talk about is this building that you want to build. You know, District 210, which is Frankfurt, that area, in recent years, they had a huge tax hike. And one of them was so they can build another building. And they did so in Tinley Park. And today, that building sits vacant because they never got students there. They overestimated new people moving to the area and created something that is empty. Taxpayer dollars, which have gone to nothing. I don't think that a building needs to be built here. I think if you want to do some smaller renovations, I mean, clearly from what I see online, the school system here is rated as exemplary, whereas in Naperville, it's rated as commendable. Hinsdale is commendable. So clearly somebody's doing something right here with the students. So this number that you're gathering, I think is not realistic for a lot of people here. And I don't think that it's going to better the community. And I don't think it's going to better the students. The last thing I do want to talk about is our property taxes. We already, the property taxes that we pay, 77% of it goes to the public school system. 77%. That's a lot. I think it's time for the school district, the board, to become more creative with the money that they have instead of asking for more. I'm a small business owner.
If you can wrap up, please. You have
Yeah,
10 seconds.
I'm a small business owner, and I know I've taught myself how to be creative with funds, and I think instead of asking for more money from the community, that is exactly what needs to happen here.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So we have our next speaker, Ryan Ryle, in regards to the referendum. That adds on our time. Just
Good evening. My name is Ryan. I'm 18, and I'm a senior at Westmont High School. I'm here tonight again addressing my feelings for the referendum, and I apologize if I'm looking down at my paper tonight. I have a lot I will be sharing. As a student in this district, I have had enough about hearing about the CUSD 201 referendum. It is honestly insulting to me and my family that you're asking for more of my parents' hard-earned money, especially when nothing seems to be improving around the district. Every time you want more money, you act like it's going to magically fix everything, but nothing has been done. The schools have been continuing to fall into despair for quite some time now. I cannot stress this enough to the school board, but the schools are going to get old. Buildings get old. How do you think they keep up with the buildings around us? They have to maintain the buildings. Have the buildings ever been properly maintained in the district? No, they have not. Also adding on, the economy is not the greatest it has been. Prices keep going up, and I can say this because I work in retail, and we barely have people coming in to shop. Like, the prices have gone up so much, like I don't even shop on a regular basis. You guys have money to fix these issues. You don't want to spend the money, which shows you guys being greedy. Some of the money is being used to advertise this referendum, even though it has failed before. Even though it already failed, it doesn't matter how many votes it failed by. Just like in a sports game, you still lost. What gives you the right to put this upon us? We voted no. At this point, it truly doesn't matter to me as a student what gets fixed since I'm graduating in 2 months. However, I will not stop using my voice to make my point heard for what's truly right. For not only for me, but for other people who don't want this. I don't want the taxes getting higher. And I know a bunch of people don't want the taxes higher either. It's bad enough. It is really bad enough. We don't need this referendum. What we need is for the school district to stop shoving it in our face. People have voted this off, including myself. And we're going to vote this off again. Enough is enough. Stop trying to pass this referendum. We have voted it off for a reason. We don't want the higher taxes, and I especially do not want the traffic increasing by Time Warner Park. Before I go today, I am urging others and I did vote yesterday to vote no for better solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you. Next, we have Keith Nega.
Hello, I'm Keith Nega. I'm a resident and taxpayer and a graduate of Westmont High School. I guess I'll start by saying, wow, this board managed to divide and anger an entire community. Good job. Quoting your own words, trust us, we will be transparent and financially responsible. I think the fact that we hire a consultant for $85,000 and counting didn't take any of his early advice to bring any $85,000 counting, didn't take any of his early advice. Then bring in a builder who in turn donates $10,000 to a yes committee in favor of this project, who in turn sends all that money to a consultant with experience in these matters. The fact that this does not bother a single board member is amazing. You were elected to represent the entire community. How does an entire board agree with a referendum along with the bond? Some of you know better, very disappointing. Not to mention the teachers' involvement in these yes agendas and during the classrooms that I think needs to be looked at. You say you are financially responsible. Possibly you cherry pick some report that probably be for you to make it look good. I found a report from ISBE that says the opposite. Who do we believe? I keep them up. The fact that you sent out a mailer saying you reduced $58 million, coincidentally, looks a lot like the yes mailer. Amazing, huh? Nobody knows these people, and they don't know these people. Say you lowered by $58 million, but you $5.8 million, but you don't put on there that you're putting a $7 million bond through here, or that you're asking for a 5% increase on top of that. So basically, what was the sense of this? This cost us what, $8,000, $9,000 we sent for a district we have no money with? You failed these people by such a big ask. The fact that I've been told by yes parents, I am spreading propaganda and conspiracy theories, falls on the board for manipulating these parents into believing the sky is falling in. Parents need to do a little research. Look into these awards, where they come from. Our proficiency rate is 30%. ACT scores are 22. Just barely above the state average. Even with all the countless practice tests. And that's what we don't teach. We got to teach. We don't teach. You teach to test. Maybe quit with all the AP classes that he's pushing and go back to teaching high school. AP classes aren't for everybody, and getting 3s on an AP class is nothing great. In closing, you should have done a cost analysis to update Manning, giving us an option. And don't say Oakmont. Everyone knew from the get-go Oakmont was not a feasible project. The architects and the builders knew that, and everybody else knew that. That was not a feasible. It should never have gone to that. And that cost us $5,000 for having Hosey come and give a speech after putting some post-ups on a wall. So that's all I have to say. And I think the village is disappointed, angry, and don't know where to go with it. But thank you.
Thank you for your time. Next is Catherine Hahn.
Hey, guys, thank you for your time here today. Well, want to be honest, I'm not a politician. I'm just citizen of Westmont. My husband and I moved here at the end of 2023, bought our first home. We're newly married, looking to start a family, and thought that Westmont was a really great place to do that. And imagine my disappointment last November when I see, that you're trying to borrow, it's like nearly $70 million against my house and the house of all my neighbors, and I go out and I vote no. And I think that's the end of it because it doesn't pass. And find out last week that you guys are trying to sneak this through again. It's very disingenuous. And I'm upset as somebody new to the Westmont area. This is not the kind of welcome I thought I was going to get. Not being presented any options. There's a lot of room to budget between $0 and $68 million. And I want to know why I'm not being presented with that choice to vote. Why I'm being told instead, oh, I can say we're saving $5.8 million. Look how responsible we're being. Not we're borrowing $68 million. It's very disingenuous. There's a lot of professional lobbying going up against normal people like everybody else in this room who's sharing, people such as myself and my husband who are looking to start a family, and having money borrowed against us and our children's future, and not being presented any options between, oh, we need a new building and where we're at today is very, very concerning to me. It's really upsetting, and it's so on the nose to say, people, you're paying $6 for a dozen eggs. We're going to raise each of your property taxes between minimum $600 a year. That's a big deal. It's very, very, very insensitive to people who are working hard, trying to start their family, start good futures, to tell them, we don't care, we're saddling you with another $700 to $1,000 a year on your house. Again, I just found out about this last week. I'm not a politician. I'm not as well versed as some of these other people here on what the issue is, but it is not common sense to borrow $68 million and force that down our throats. I'm very disappointed about the welcome that I've had to Westmont. I appreciate your time here today and really ask you to reconsider and be responsible with our money because it's not your money. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for your time and attending for public comment. We will continue with our agenda, with the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number 1, personnel recommendations and resignations. 2, approval of March 2025 expenditure report. 3, approval of the February 2025 regular payroll. 4, approval of the ombudsman contract. 5, approval of IHSA membership.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Marin?
Yes.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
Ms. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Redonio?
Yes.
Ms. Rogers? Yes. Mr. Evia?
Yes.
Motion carries. We will continue. We don't have information and discussion at this time, any items. So we'll move to the action items. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 audit as presented.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
Ms. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Redonio?
Yes.
Ms. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Avia?
Yes.
Mr. Marin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number 2, the chair will entertain a motion to authorize and direct the treasurer to pay any bills received in March 2025 that have been budgeted for the 2025 fiscal year.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Dr. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Redonio?
Yes.
Ms. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Avia?
Yes.
Mr. Marin?
Yes.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
We'll proceed with the superintendent's report.
Just want to once again state that we're experiencing a lot of success in our buildings as a result of the great work of our teachers and students. I'm so proud of them. Young people are always growing and making mistakes and learning from them, but overall the citizenship has been incredible. You walk through our buildings and it's not to be taken for granted. Our kids are just working so hard, as are our teachers, and that's why we garner the results we receive, and why we are an exemplary school district. And those awards that the district wins are very real. They're not ones that I created. I'm not the judge. I don't set the criteria. National organizations, the state of Illinois. So it's really the hard work of our students and our teachers and support staff supported by the board and the admin and the great parents and the community working together and doing something that's really unique. If you can find a district that's overachieving the way that we are, I need to know their name, because we'll go and study them and learn from them. But the truth is, we're seen statewide as a leader in education. And that's not an opinion. That's the criteria set by the Illinois State Board of Education or the federal government or all these ranking organizations that we have nothing to do with. They come up with their rankings. So I'm very proud of how hard our kids work, the great things they accomplish, and supported by the whole school community. It's quite beautiful. And I think that's what our district really stands for, and I'm very proud of them. And we're going to continue to do that. I know people have a choice on April 1st, and I'll just say, as a person who loves our students, anybody knows and who's talked to the students in this district that I've worked by and with for years, I love them dearly. I've come to love Westmont as a community. There's a lot at stake and a lot to lose. So I hope people are very careful with their decision on April 1st. This is an incredibly excellent district, and I just want to make sure that we maintain that as a community.
It's not an engagement time, I'm sorry. It's not an engagement time. I'm going to call order.
You can contact me. I'll be glad to talk with you.
Any of you can speak with me or the superintendent after, but not at this time. Sorry, that's not for our board meetings. I do have a question for you, Jack. With
Yes.
I know we had one of our administrators who does outstanding work here with looking at our data, and Carla Braun has presented. Is that available online for the community to see?
The 3 times a year, we do a close scrutiny of student performance in CUSD 201, and it's posted on our website, and we'll repost it, and it's there for everybody to scrutinize. As is the Illinois State Report Card that shows, once again, so yes, Dr. Braun's annual 3-time-a-year report, our quality review, is available for anybody to scrutinize, as is the Illinois School Report Card that anybody in the community can go to and see that our schools are some of the top ranked in Illinois. So,
and I know she's put a number of things. I think the biggest thing that's important to me that I want to echo that you're saying is growth that we've had in this district. It's not anything that's stagnant. I've seen that and I thank Dr. Braun for having that and presenting that. That's an ask for the board. We demanded that this board, and others before, but I definitely know this board has demanded that we attain results and we get results and see examples of that. We will continue to do that. There's always more to be done, but that's one thing I'm proud of with our district, and happy that principals are celebrating at all the buildings, and especially at our junior high and our elementary school, because that's the example of growth. Even our preschool itself has been named and celebrated. So thank you for that. I will always applaud this district on the work it's doing. Any other questions for Jack from the board? We'll move on to board reports. Anyone has board reports?
Just real quick, I attended the DuPage Division meeting back on March 5th, representing our board and our school district. Just wanted to mention 2 things. One was that they made mention of Dr. Hoover's award that was won back in the fall, the Thomas Leigh Burroughs Award, and everyone was really proud, not just of Westmont, but also that there was someone from DuPage County, right? So there's only one that's given to someone around the state, so it's kind of a big deal. So that, and the second thing was that I don't remember the exact name, but they also recognized exemplary boards that go through a process of sharing their documentation on exactly how they do things. I think there were probably maybe 10, maybe up to a dozen boards that were recognized out of all the school boards in DuPage County. And when I learned a little bit about what goes in that night, when I learned about what goes into being able to receive that award, I thought it might be something that we would want to think about, maybe not immediately, but something for the future, because it's really about documenting your processes and showing that you do a superintendent evaluation, that you do your self-evaluation, that how you go about the business of being a board. More than anything, because we've talked a lot on this board about not just doing the work of being a board, but getting this board functioning to the point where others can step in and know. Another big component of it is how, do you have a process for welcoming new board members, for example, right? So anyway, not something to talk about tonight, but something to think about for maybe next calendar or school year, excuse me, is pursuing that. Because I think the things you have to do set the board up nicely for the functioning of the board independent of the members of the board. I hope I'm making sense.
I love that idea. Can you send us some information on it?
I will. Yes, I will.
And we've done some of that work.
I'll bet
So I
some
think
it's
we
done
need to
already.
build upon
Yeah.
it at our tri-conference for, just reminding the community, at our tri-conference for, again, boards from across the state. We were asked to share our process for, one, choosing a superintendent and how we did that. And the biggest applaud we got from across the state is how we were determined to have our community involved in that. And we were asked to present for that, and we were also asked to present on coming up with a tool to evaluate the superintendent. So I thank you guys for your time with this non-paid position that you give for this and making processes and extra meetings, but that is something that we are doing, and also helps us, like you said, Carlos, like documenting what we do so that when we're not here present, our favorite question is what has been done before, and we're establishing those processes and even going through the exercise to be recognized for that, we can kind of document our process for others to use. So again, always work to be done, but thank you for what you have done. Any other board comments?
I just want, because I feel like I
Or
spent like
reports,
almost
sorry.
the whole week
Yes.
at West Mountain High School or somewhere last week. There was so much stuff going on between the carnival and then STEM night, and then I have a third grader, so there's the concert. And I just think not everybody in the community is always in our building seeing what happens. And, I hope that more people get to experience that as more young families move in and families become part of the school system. I think that what you see happen here doesn't happen everywhere else. And just every time, this past week for me in particular was super special, just to see the dedication of teachers after hours and their planning and their thoughtfulness and how excited students are. You don't get that experience everywhere. And so I just, it was a really cool week, and want to thank the district and the administrators and the teachers who put all of their time into that, and hope that more and more families who move here get to experience that.
And I'm not going to get a lot of these things right to celebrate, and I'm going to continue to celebrate because we always have problems, and we're going to always speak of problems that, we are speaking about in our board meetings. But just to let the board know, we are, as part of our meetings, want to celebrate what the students are doing, because that's who it's for. In sports, there's a caveat, but in sports, I'm going to name like what our girls basketball team is doing. They're getting conference and regional championships, and even more than that, I think the work that is done in the sports department, especially high school, but can't leave out the junior high, the wrestling team, and the coaches there and the time that they put in. It's all wonderful things. They're our Scholastic Bowl. So that's what I said. I'm not going to name all of that. We are working to bring students here so we can celebrate them and honor them. So we'll be sharing more of that, but we do want to bring them here and let them know that we do see what they're doing and say congratulations to them. It's hard work with not only trying to learn and get better scores and be set up for life after high school graduation here, but there are many wonderful things that's going on in the band programs and awards there. That's why I don't have them all listed, but we do want to celebrate our students with things they're doing in all those fields. I'll piggyback off of you. So one of our alumni students that we recognized last year, Abraham Johnson, he's at Eastern Illinois University. He placed in top 10 at conference. So amongst tons of other colleges and schools, but my son, he posted it last night. So it was kind of exciting to see, you know, that when we honored the students last year, you know, for everything that they did while they were here at Westmont, that it definitely is, you know, still carrying on even on the collegiate level for him. So kudos to him, as well as, you know, the other students, you know, from Westmont that are alumni that are doing great things. But just wanted to point that out, you know, that he ranked within recent track and field conference. Awesome.
That's great.
Me, I just want to piggyback on Jess. I was also at STEM night. It was great. You know, my kids had a really enjoyable time. I want to thank the educators that were there, community, you know, organizations that were there. It was a great event. It was a fun time, so thank you.
Thank you to our sponsors.
Yes.
Anything else? All right, we're going to proceed with our next thing that we have with future meetings and events.
Public comment again, you know.
We don't. I don't have any new cards for public comment.
Okay.
So first, we have kindergarten registration. It opens in Skyward on March 19th. So definitely, we always ask if there are community members that know of people who are asking. The biggest thing is a call to district if you have questions, but that does open on March 19th. Our famous Pizza Wars is, people ask about it.
Of course.
March 19th, 5:30 p.m., Westmont Junior High School. Again, these students are amazing in organizing these things, and they put a lot of time in it, so please go out if you can. Then we'll have our Rising Stars Talent Show, March 21st, 6 p.m. at Westmont High School. The District Fine Arts Night is March 26th, 7 p.m., Westmont High School. So across the district, we get to see and hear our students and their performances and their exhibits. And then we have our parent-teacher conferences, so you should have been able to schedule those if you need to. March 27th, 5 to 8 p.m., and it's a student SIP day. Please see your building leaders for dismissal times if you need help with that. And then on March 28th, there's no attendance for students, but that parent-teacher conference time is 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Spring break is March 31st to April 4th. There's no school attendance during that time, of course. Elementary PTO night, April 2nd, 6 p.m. at Manning. And then our next CUSD 201 board meeting is April 8th at 6:30 p.m. here at Westmont Village Hall. From my understanding, we don't have to return a close. All right. At this point, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the March 18th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Education.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.